Soccer Dad Pod. We're back, sitting here. One of my favorite places. I have a few favorite places. Actually, my favorite places list is getting smaller, Jarod.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, because you hate people.
I do. It's really kind of humans. I shouldn't say that. I hate...
Hate's a strong word.
Groups. Like masses of people. It just makes me a little wiggy.
Well, I can just kind of look at you when we're in said group, and I can kind of see when you're like... It's like when you're at the casino and you're going on a run at the blackjack table and you're starting to go really good, and that lady that's dealing your cards kind of does that little thing with her hands like she's done.
Yeah.
You do that. You're like, I'm done.
Yeah. I'm polite about it, though. I don't Houdini. I don't just like bounce. I prefer being the grandma at the casino on the slot by herself.
With a Virginia Slim that you don't ash ever.
Exactly.
Well, I tell you what, you talked about this place.
FBAG.
Likewise, this is a good place, and we've talked about it on many times, within the show. But 82 degrees on this patio with these overhead fans going.
Well, that's where I was going with this.
That's a hard place to be.
Number one, I haven't seen you in a while. Number two, what is today's date? July 22nd at the time of this recording. It theoretically should be 782 degrees out here on this patio. It's not.
It was 21 hours ago.
Yeah, true. So, by the way, background noise here today. Keller, new band, the Moguls down in Nashville. Got a little rock going on.
I saw him in a social media post, and he was wearing like ski goggles when he was playing the guitar, and I just immediately thought to just different famous guitar players, like, Flea playing in his whitey tighties. Like, is that kind of what his gig is now? Like, ski goggle guy?
So, in the world of everything these days, you can't just be good at what you're supposed to be good at, right? You have to have a brand. These guys, all these kids, Belmont Music School, Nashville, whole 9 yards, right? They came up with this idea, and I thought it was actually pretty brilliant. They're called the Moguls, is the name of the band.
Okay.
Kills two birds, one stone. Number one, they wear suits on stage. So black pants, white button down, little suit vibe, business, mogul.
Okay.
But kind of the Daft Punk funny side of shit is they wear ski goggles.
Okay.
For moguls. Like skiing.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Anyway, go check him out. If you listen to him and they hit it big, then that'll help him pay me back for all the money that I spent on his education that is not going towards the moguls.
Touche.
Yeah, there we go. How you been, man?
I've been great.
World Cup month has wrapped up. You are you like me, kind of in this like weird fog where you don't know what to do anymore because there's no real games on anymore?
Well, I tell you, I mean, kudos to, all of the leading up to, this is not my point, but just since you asked, leading up to the World Cup, there was, can we do it? Oh, my God, the tickets are so expensive. Oh, the safety aspect, all the other things. America and our stadiums and our cities, I mean, we pulled it off in a big way. And so kudos to just the whole event because it was phenomenal. And to answer your question, I went to that Sporting KC St. Louis City game kind of right before the third place final, and it's a different brand. If you will.
Is that in your professional opinion?
Yeah, so, I mean, the games, our fans that are listening to the show, they watch the game, so I don't need to go into a dissertation on who, what, where, how the games were. They were just flat out phenomenal, and what an event.
So let's talk about the World Cup just from 10,000-foot view. You as a fan, I don't want to get into the U.S. team or any in the weeds about athletes or development or any of that shit. What's your favorite thing, story, team, player from the World Cup?
Story. Can I start with the girl who sang the Argentinian national anthem?
You mean my new screensaver?
Aside from that, Mbappe, which I'll just go straight into my point if I can, and we'll circle back.
Dude, this is your world.
I mean, Mbappe, and one could argue that he didn't affect every game like one would hope. However, just some stats here. The kid has been in 3 World Cups.
Yeah, how old is he? Like 21?
He's 27.
Yeah, no, I'm
and he's been in 3 World Cups. He's played in 22 games, and he has 22 goals. So for our listeners, let me put this in perspective. He's played in 3 World Cups. He's 27. He has 22 goals. He's currently leading. He has the most goals ever scored in a World Cup. And the thing that knocks my socks off, if you really think about it and you're in the real time of this thing, we're really witnessing something special because Messi, who just got done playing his 6th World Cup, has 21 goals, and that's astronomical. Like, for me, what we're witnessing is if he has 22 goals in 22 games and he's played in 3 World Cups, they're talking about expanding the field. If they go to 64, I still think it's 8 games if you make it to the final or the 3rd place because they're just going to have the top 2 from the bracket will go into the quarters or the round of 32, not quarters. So if he plays 3 more World Cups, which gets him into 39, which at his position – he might be a little long in the tooth to play a flank or a wing 10 for a French team because of how high level they are. But I think we're witnessing somebody that could potentially score 35, maybe even 40 goals if he plays 3 more World Cups. He's had 7 he's had 7, 7, and 8. So, like, that's a record that will never be broken, I don't think. Like, I mean, we're talking about records.
It's one of those things like you can't define his ceiling because of the way things are shifting. Like, what's the limit to his ability?
Messi's the greatest player ever, consensus right now. He has 21 goals in 6 World Cups. This kid is 3 in, 22. He's talking about records like...
And he's already won one.
And for me, there's records that are out there in the sporting world, and this is a soccer pod, but like Cal Ripken. I mean, most consecutive games played. That'll never be touched. Like 2,700 games. I mean, people are just too soft nowadays. Wayne Gretzky, 2,800 career points. There's like nobody else that's got more than 2,000. You know, there's certain records in the sporting world that will never be touched. If this guy gets into the 30 range or north of that, no one will ever touch that for World Cup goals scored. I don't care if they expand it to 100 teams.
Yeah, I think this World Cup was a tale of 2 cities in so much that the 2 headlines that I really kind of like as I lay in bed and can't sleep at night, what I was thinking. Number 1, the stars came to play. If you look at the Golden Boot race, you know, the top 5, you're talking Mbappe, Messi, Dembele, obviously Haaland.
Kane.
Kane, right?
And then Bellingham.
Everybody that you expected to play great did, which I think you expect that at most World Cups, but I think in this one in particular, more of them did better than we thought they would.
Yeah.
Number 1. But here's the other side of the coin. I think the 1B story of this World Cup is the minnows, the Cape Verdes. Africa had 8 of their 9 nations that qualified went into the knockout rounds.
Wow.
Right? You know, there's so many of these micro stories. Norway, just as a team, right? They hadn't been there in over 30 years. And you know, they were on a run. They could have won it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where, for me, it proves that the delta between the haves and the have-nots is getting smaller and smaller.
You had mentioned the African nations, and we know the game, and we're going to have guys on that run a club today that also know the game, and they're starting from a young age, developing players is what our clubs do, and we could talk about all the bullshit about, you know, the U.S. exiting early, and that's not where I'm going with this. But you look at these African nations that are doing well. In the future of the world game, the African nations are going to have to be dealt with and are not going to be easy outs ever because they're developing in their countries. They're starting earlier. They're putting money towards the game. And nobody's going to out-athlete those African nations. And as they become better soccer players and they become more technical, there will be an African winner of the World Cup in our lifetime.
Lots to unpack there. First things first, the athlete argument is actually the conversation from the pundits. You know, immediately everybody's like, oh, pay to play, screwed us, and oh, if our best athletes paid. Every time somebody would say that, literally ingrown nails would just pop up out of the blue. Like, it would just drive me fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Because I don't buy that argument. Look at the winner. Who on that roster, on Spain's roster, could play any other professional sport other than maybe golf or tennis, right? Through the lens of American sports. It's just not going to happen. There's not one NFL player on that roster. There's not one NBA player on that roster. Find me the guy that's going to hit a 101 mile per hour slider, right? I hate that argument. I think the difference is as simple as, and why the African nations are doing well, it's their culture. That's their sport. When we grew up, Zach made a great point earlier today. When you were a little kid and your dad said, hey, let's go outside and play, what did you do?
Beat everybody.
You played catch. You played bait. You put a glove on and you played catch.
I'm stepping in what you're smelling.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our culture has not adopted soccer as the family go-to. In some neighborhoods, it's rare. St. Louis is one of those cities where you can find that. But that's the exception to the rule, right? So, I don't know. Well, I'm thinking we need... I would love to get Thomas Dooley back on, in hindsight after this, because remember when we talked to him or the conversation with him, it's about the mindset and the passion well beyond the training and the development.
Yeah.
That's where, and the from a U.S. national team standpoint, going out, Captain America, the way he walked off the field, that said to me, that's why we're short. There's no way he should have walked off. I don't care if it's broke his tibia. Play.
Yeah, I get your point there. I think that just flat out we laid an egg. I don't know if it's because we were scared, we weren't ready. If these guys, we were better than that, than we showed, and ultimately the result was the result. I don't think. I think the margin for error is so small, and I think the narrative coming out of pay to play, the United States national team. Which is all the people are screaming at the radio right now. Well, they didn't, but if they put a result together against one game against a Belgium team that was damn good, it's a completely different narrative. Oh, we're there, we're almost there, we're this close because we exit in that game.
Last question, then we're going to take a break and bring our guests on. Let's go to that game against Belgium. If you were the coach, would you have started Balogun?
Yeah. Yeah, I get the argument of okay, the rule, and then the red card, and then we're taking it back, and you're messing up the mojo. But he was your guy. I don't agree with he's our best player, but I think you play him. Yes to answer your question.
Yeah, I take the opposite side, and the reason is we had 4 days, assuming he wasn't going to play. That Poch went to Haji or whoever and said, look, next man up. We're a team. We're ready. Ballo, sorry, unfortunate. Can't wait to get you back. We're going to win this game to get you back. You had 4 days where the team was mentally they were fine. And then it all goes poof and becomes the headline. And if I'm a Belgian player, I'm like, fuck yeah, go ahead, put him on the field.
To me, as a real soccer guy, I think the whole thing is how we showed up, and maybe you're attributing this whole decision process to that. But I think it's the back four, and I think it's the goalie on what specifically happened on each goal and leading up to said goal. Like, to me, we just did not compete.
Yeah.
And if you look at the people in the back, our left back, Jedi, is a top 5 left back in the world, or let's call it top 8. The desk guy plays for Barcelona. He just flat out didn't show up. Tim Ream, our guy who's played in the Premier League. Everybody's wanting to dog Tim Ream. He played in the Premier League for 15 years. So, I get the way they showed up and the age of each player, but we just did not compete in the back line, and our goalie was arguably drunk.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We're out here at Fenton Bar and Grill. Thanks, Chuck. What is it? The trashed wings, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they're known for. Come out here. It's about a what is it? Driver, 5-iron, pitching wedge from the park, soccer park, right down the road. Anyway, come out here, get some cold beers, chicken wings, etc. Family friendly. Patio's nice. When we come back, we're going to be talking all things Stars Soccer. Probably the coolest logo. I said this, a while back when I first met these guys. I'm like, greatest asset you have is that logo.
You remember a couple years back, the History Museum did that like soccer St. Louis deal?
Yeah.
They had a cool Stars T-shirt that I bought, and I was gonna wear it today, but then I put it on. It looked like a half shirt on me. I always buy clothes that are too small for me, thinking like I'm trim. I'm really not. But you're right, because I had that Stars jersey, and I might give it to my grandkid because it's a slick logo.
There you go, man. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Stars Soccer, Soccer Dad Pod, like, review, follow, share, all free. We'll see you on the other side. Quick break here. Wanted to let everyone know that we have pulled together a special playlist over on Spotify, simply called Soccer Recruiting Playlist. In it, you will find 45 of our episodes featuring a load of D1, D2, D3, JUCO, Academy, and Pro coaches, all telling their stories, and most importantly, they talk about Pathway, the it factor, what they look for, and what they expect. With over 300 episodes and counting in the show, we thought it was time to help out. Soccer Recruiting Playlist. Find it on Spotify. Back to the show. All right, Soccer Dad Pod, we're back. As I mentioned earlier, we're bringing on a couple of friends. They're friends of ours from the club. You read your dashboard. Got the stars here. We're going to be talking about club origination, strategy, philosophy, all of the above. Goals, what's next? Because it is kind of like the golden era of soccer in America right now with the amount of kids that want to do this thing. Jarod, you good? You got you're double-fisted here today. I like it.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Black and white.
Guinness and a Miller Lite. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I had the Miller Lite to fill in for the lag time of the next delivery of Guinness.
Because it was sitting. It was settling.
Yeah.
All right, let's get right into it here. We are, like I mentioned before the break, we're out here at Fenton Bar and Grill, sitting down on the patio, having this conversation. Joining us today from the St. Louis Stars Soccer Club, two individuals at the top of the pyramid. To my right, I got Mr. Matt Hulsey, Club Prez,
hello.
Spelled with a Z, right. And Jim Thebeau, the Executive Director, not to be called Vice.
Yeah, no Vice President for him. Doesn't like that.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Doing great.
Great. Thanks for
Great
having
to be
us.
here.
So we started off earlier. You guys were listening to Jarod and I waste some time there. We were talking about the World Cup, favorite takeaways, surprises, etc. I'm sure you guys got plenty of minutes in watching the last 30, 35 days, whatever it's been. Jim, what's your takeaway? What's your favorite thing about this past World Cup?
Well, I tell you, it was exciting to watch, right? Like, there wasn't a bad game. It didn't matter if you were watching Switzerland play whoever or Cape Verde, right? Every game was entertaining. And I say that because my wife, who absolutely hates soccer and doesn't even come to our games, was like, hey, who's playing today? Who's playing?
I saw her at a Gallagher game last week.
That's where she's been. Yeah.
No wonder.
Makes sense.
That answers a lot of questions. But I think that a lot of people that were not maybe fans or big fans going into soccer fans, like, saw how cool this was and how neat the experience was, like, really became fans for the first time.
So,
that was cool
amazing.
to see.
So you grew up a St. Louis guy. Let me just add a part B for you, and then sure. I'll ask Matt you same question. You grew up with the game. You played the game, high school club, etc. You've been a lover of the game.
Sure.
You're obviously heavily involved in this club now. How did you feel about, like, the effect it's going to have on the next gen, because you were around, we're the same age.
Right.
You remember 94.
I remember 94.
And what that meant to U.S. soccer.
Sure.
What do you think is maybe not the MLS moment of 2026 World Cup, what do you think it's going to do for soccer in America?
I think it's going to continue to have a snowball effect. I mean, we've had more and more kids that want to play, and obviously that's nationwide. I mean, we see it here in St. Louis. 15 years ago, you could count how many really clubs that were legit on pretty much one hand, and now you've got 40, 50 clubs all teaching the game and getting kids involved, and that's awesome. I think that's just going to continue. You're going to get more athletes for the young age that are interested in soccer, and I think that's the coolest part about all of it is I think you're going to see the kids that are looking at baseball and football and basketball be like, man, soccer's pretty cool. There's a lot of buzz around it. So I think that momentum will continue to build, and it helps. It's a good time to Matt. It's a good time to be involved in a club.
Hulsey, same question, man. World Cup. How many games did you watch? If you had to guess.
Was it on? No, I'm just kidding.
I was watching golf.
Yeah, right now. Definitely not golf. Yeah, a ton. Took the kids out to Philadelphia, watched Brazil versus Haiti.
Wow, that's a good one.
Incredible experience. Was like unbelievable. Just the environment and seeing that. We actually took our boys up to Kansas City and let them watch
Quarterfinal.
Yeah, the quarterfinal. It's pretty incredible. I mean, I watched a ton. It was funny, Jim talking about his wife watching the game. My mom called me. Ever since as you said, I didn't grow up playing the game, so I didn't grow up exactly in a soccer household. I won't tell you what my dad said about soccer, but we'll talk. I'll tell you off air.
We already know.
We know.
We've heard.
But that's what it was growing up in my house, and my mom would call me and be like, "Who's playing today?" And all these. So it was really cool. It was really because, being involved with the club, she thinks I memorized the World Cup schedule.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's really hard to describe, because whether or not you grew up with the game like some of us did, or you didn't like yourself, but you at this point we all love it at probably fairly close levels of passion, so to speak. I just felt during the World Cup like it was just a constant gift. It was like every day you could be like, I didn't care. To your point, Jim, I didn't care what the game was.
Yeah, that's valid.
And you also said something else that I want to get your guys' take on this about the World Cup comes through and now you have all these kids that are like, oh my God, that's kind of cool. I've been saying for a long time, like if you go to any local school, like my kid's school in Webster Groves, right? You go to Clark Elementary. And if you stood outside at 3 o'clock when the bell goes off and you watch all the kids come out, count how many kids are wearing European soccer kits, national team kits versus Cardinal jerseys,
Sure. Yeah.
or Blues tees or whatever. Like the ratio is off the charts. Soccer.
Yeah, I think there's a big shift happening, especially away from baseball. It's like tremendous. I don't know, maybe it's the iPads in the world. These kids just don't have the attention span for it, but I feel like, not that baseball's dying, but from a youth sports perspective, I think it's taking a huge hit. I mean, I don't have any data to support that, but I figure making it up.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Along those lines, let me ask you guys this. Who do you think, like if you were to think about Major League Baseball, who has a better social media account than Erling Haaland in Major League Baseball?
Right.
I think
Shohei.
Maybe Shohei.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but you can't read it. You don't understand.
It makes sense. My takeaway is, and we're not getting in the weeds, do research, and we should probably have the answers because I'm going to bring it up. But I think the major difference between 94 and 26 is the sheer amount of soccer knowledge that's here within the youth clubs, within our professional league, within the college ranks, compared to 94. So 94 really scratched the surface, and it blew the game up for both girls and boys on a youth level. I'll be really interested to see, because of the amount of players, the amount of money, the amount of sponsorship dollars that are involved in the game, where does the game go from here from a youth level? Because I think if it does the explosion like it did in 94 with somewhat of the newness of it, I mean, the sky's the limit probably for our youth game.
You know, that's a great point. Quick question to you guys off of his point. I mean, we're only a handful of days away, you know, since the final. But, you know, we're 40 days since the opening game, right? Have you seen an uptick? Interest, questions, whether it's, you know, existing parents like, hey, when are we going to, you know, is the chatter louder? Are you getting more kids interested?
I think so. We had record number for the club for tryouts, people coming
absolutely.
out. And it's year over year that continues to grow. The biggest thing for us is with the influx of interested players is how do you find enough quality coaches to lead all of these kids and give them an equal opportunity. We talk about pay to play, and people think that's the problem. I'm not sure it is, as long as the money's going to the right places, which is paying the coaches. At the end of the day, you got to get people that can teach the game.
Capable
and that costs
people.
money. Capable people. And that's, you know, we'll get into that later, but that's one of the big blue chips for our club is, you know, where we spend our money. That's where it goes.
So let's go back in time. Let's put a pin in the map out of the gate. St. Louis Stars, famous for its NASL presence, the original St. Louis professional outdoor soccer team. Al Trost captained the team.
When did you acquire the trademark on the internet after having 12 beers?
It was
Let's.
It was 2021, right? 2022. 22. We're coming up on 5 years.
It was just sitting out there, and you were like...
It was out there,
Dead.
yes. Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. Before you decide to go and seek out the Stars licensing rights, you made the decision to start a club.
Correct.
What was that process?
Well, we
I think it happened at Helen's. No.
Yeah, I think it did. Right?
I was trying to go for Serve Pro Storm, but Jim didn't like the name.
He didn't like it.
Come on, the Serve Pro Storm. What the hell?
We had a handful of teams
Got a ring to
that were having some success, and it was something like I knew we could grow it, but we needed some help. So I called Matt and said, hey, man, you want to meet? His son played for the club, and he was interested in helping. And it kind of started that day. And we kind of decided, hey, let's both, you know, put all of our guns and go forward with this thing. And, you know, we were I think we had about 225 kids.
Those are Thebeau numbers.
250.
We had enough kids to field 225 worth of teams. No, I'm just kidding. We had 140 kids and
to go back to the
teams.
original,
No,
to go back to the original thought process.
I don't remember what the original number was. But.
You know, I grew up playing here. Went to St. Mary's High School. Got to play for the great Jim Bokern. Coach Jim,
a dragon.
Love you, buddy. Played at Lindenwood University. Got lucky enough to go play there for Carl Hutter. And so I have 5 boys. And they all started getting involved, and I knew, just as my personality, that I probably should get involved versus watch somebody else do it. And so that's what kind of got me into it. And then, you know, there was, you know, when we got into it, there was Gallagher, there was Fuse, and there was Rush, handful of other teams, clubs, and we knew we could never be the same size as them at any time. But what we did, what I recognize is, you know, probably only a couple layers deep. And then if you could get 6 or 7 good teams, one at each age group, you could start to make some noise because they couldn't take everybody, right? And so a lot of these kids were like probably good enough to be on top teams that just weren't getting an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so that's where we saw the opportunity as a club to grow.
Well, and I also think here's a good point to cut in. And this is where young clubs like you guys and other clubs that are having sustained success early on, I think part of the American way in the youth level is I think kids get diagnosed a little too early on who's good, who's not good. And this is well before the pubescent years.
Correct.
And so, like, for instance, and this is not me outing anybody because I'll die on the sword with Scott Gallagher, but they're in a market where they have to field top-level teams early on, and they pick their kids.
Sure.
So if at 8, 9, 10 years old, kids 1 through 5 don't make the team, but they either have good pedigree or they have a good heart or they turn the corner or they're just good kids and good players in general, but they just were passed over in that specific club.
Sure.
It's perfect that there's a place for you guys, because I think we get too early on in the club game or in the youth game across the country, especially when there's a huge number of youth kids playing the game, where they're labeled too early.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. That puberty is just a great reset of. I mean, you can have great players. Puberty resets the deck. So it's really who can you get and who can you bring along up until then, and then who can you get after that, and you'll see the top kids come down, and some of the kids that were in the middle come up.
Yeah, you have so there's an anomaly where you can. There's always a kid that early on, if you have two eyeballs and feet to stand on, you can watch this kid, whether you know the game or not, and say, that kid's good, right?
Sure.
Take them out of the equation. I completely agree with the two of you. Puberty, timing, everything else. And I love that you guys have led in here with, like, the priority of the club. You know, you even made, I believe you said, like, you know, we focus our money on the coaching,
correct,
right? That's it. Because when these kids, the second a kid doesn't make an academy team at 9 years old, or like, oh my God, the end of the world is not near, right? You're 4 years away from puberty. You can't even run without falling over across the whole field yet, right? Let's get to that point, right?
And a lot of that's driven by the parents, though, too, a little bit, like that early decisions and everything. Like you said earlier, with Gallagher specifically. As much as I love to pick on them, I'm just kidding. Specifically with them, it's like we feel this pressure too from our parents. It's like there's a underlying emphasis on winning at a super early age, at like 8 years old. I just had a person leave, kid's 8 years old. They're like, I just don't know. We only ended up third in our division last year. It's like, what are we talking about? Like, it's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life.
The really funny thing, because we have a front row seat to the Gallagher process. Our kids have been in it. I have a 2013, and still both of them, they all started at U6, U7 in the club. The reality is, at every age group, you've got 7, 8, 9 teams, right?
Correct.
And to your point, where the parents are like, oh, I want to be on a winning team. Well, the bottom 5 teams at Gallagher typically do not have winning records.
Sure.
It just they just don't.
Right. They're only a couple layers deep, and it's what you do with those second, third, fourth. And there's a ton. If you can open up some doors and give some opportunity, people ask me, what would be the advice for me and my player? It would be find the coach, stay with the coach, and are you playing? You have to be in a position where you're playing the majority of the game.
You should be a college agent, because what do we talk about? What do we talk about with our own kids? What are the two things that we cared about the most whenever they seeked out their teams? The coaching staff, and can you play?
Yeah, I mean, right fit. I mean, that's when you get to that level, the fit, and you can really translate it down to the youth level. I think it's a fine line. I think there are these goofball parents out there, whether they played the game, whether they played baseball, whether they didn't play the game. Whatever the scenario is, there is going to be astronomical parents, whether you're playing baseball, soccer, building popsicles, whatever, because there's just goofball people in our walk of life, and there seems to be more as we go on. However, I think in the youth game specifically, people try to act like development and winning are separate, which I agree that they are. But, like, what you said early on is getting good, capable coaches is what your money goes to. Like, to me, I think you can do both. And I think, and this is not me stroking Gallagher, because I think they've done a good job clearly at developing kids early.
Sure.
And it could be layers, and I understand that because it's a volume thing. But, however, it's not that they have guys over there that don't want to win and they're like, we're just worried about developing. I think it's a national thing. It's a U.S. soccer thing that we're like worried about development. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, if you're going to do something 4 or 5 days a week, you're going to develop if you have the right coach, which is what you guys have already stated you're going to do. And then just a byproduct of that is teaching boy or girl from an early age that there is sportsmanship involved. It's not everything, but we do want to win.
Sure.
And
That's
you can't have one or the other.
No, for sure.
Right. You can say all of this about patience and the coach. You gotta win a little bit, okay, because that's just how how everybody's wired. And I wish you could take that away. And the other part about it is, are you able as an organization to keep kids on the boat that may not make the top team, but be able to have that difficult conversation, say, trust the process, you've got a great coach, Billy's playing 100% of the game. Once puberty hits, everything changes.
Yeah.
So for us,
People jump ship
we'll take the
constantly.
next 10 kids that weren't selected by Gallagher and Fuse, especially at 7, 8, 9, 10, where, when puberty hits, the deck resets. Who knows? You could have 5 aces in your hand, and you don't know it until puberty hits.
Well, it's no different than you running Serve Pro, and we're talking about a youth soccer club, but I'm pretty sure because you run a business and you're in it for profit that there is somebody that's doing really well, and they think that they're owed however much more money, but for your business reasons, you can't pay them more, and you don't, and they leave. It's no different, in my opinion.
Sure.
You got to be okay with those people that leave. But what we found is the thing we've done really well is we've retained our players for the most part. Like
Culture's well. The culture's good.
Culture's number one. You got to create a culture where people think, and believe that they are not just a number, okay? That they're cared about and that they have a voice.
So let me
That's
ask.
how we actually went from small to big. Early on, our philosophy was
So let me ask a direct question to that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, talking about culture, because one of my biggest pet peeves at the college level is when you talk to coaches and staffs, they all tout their culture, and then they go to the portal and flip their roster every year.
Right.
So my question to you is, instead of, I get that it's probably on a mission statement somewhere, but what do you do specifically to address culture for the kid, for the parent, to create an environment where the stars can say, our culture is different, here's A, B, C?
right. So specifically what we did was originally when we started, when I got involved, I told Jim, I'm like, look, this is real straightforward and simple to me. We can grow this tremendously. The number one thing here is that the kid, like the youngest, least experienced person in our club, and the oldest, most gifted player we have, and everyone in between is going to experience the same stars, which these mega clubs just can't do. They can't. They're cruise ships and we're a speedboat. And I get that. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying, that's so every single one we have come in the door, we have to care about specifically. Now, it has been painful, very painful, a tremendous amount of work. We're still working on it regularly because what happens is you hire a guy who's 22 years old, who seems ambitious, and then they're 22-year-old guy, and they're skipping practices and shit like that, and it's a never-ending battle in that regard, and that's what people always call it's hard to find good coaches, right? So specifically, we try to pull the plug wherever the problem is quickly. Because at the Stars, every single person from the last team to the top team is the most important person in the world to us. I know it sounds corny, but it's just something we offer that no one else can. Well, I mean, other people can. But kind of related to that, when Jim and I first met, it blew his mind because he's like, well, what's the first thing you would change? So I started really thinking about it and all these flash-in-the-pan clubs that have popped up over the years and listening to all these soccer guys talk about different things like that. A club pops up and they're good and they're great and they have all well-intentioned and they got a guy at the top that's not making any money or whatever else and boom, they're gone, right? Or they fizzle out because it's a guy who has 2 kids that are in 6th and 8th grade and together, and they bring a bunch of friends over and it grows from there.
Right.
So I initially told Jim, and it blew his mind, and Tara, who was on our board at the time, I was like, well, you're just not charging enough money. They're like, what do you mean? We can't charge as much as Gallagher. And I was like, no, it's really, really simple, and this is something that we talk about regularly in our staff meetings. We're going to charge what we need to. I don't care what Gallagher's charging, or Fuse, or whoever else. We're going to charge what we need to charge to give every single person the value that they're giving.
The experience.
Yeah, bingo.
That's it. So, like, for me, even like when people talk about pay to play, what's the biggest problem with all of that, and not to totally go off track on that, but it's like, what does that mean even, right? Because you have to pay people to give you proper coaching in some capacity. It's just our culture. It's we're not Europe. There's not a field is not a quarter mile from your house. So like the real fix to that would be having that. Well, we have a geographical issue in the United States where we're just too spread out. Even like for us looking for a facility.
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to hit every topic for you.
No,
Let me peek at your questions over there.
I love that part because, the comment that you just were touching on about, well, the fields are far away and everything else.
Yeah.
That truth, because I think immediately about my own childhood. And the reason why my hometown, why we were successful, it wasn't because
you guys didn't play in Missouri. Go ahead.
See, Illinois, we played Chicago teams. Yeah, they were pretty good. I've just beat them too. Anyway, my point is this. We went to the park. We jumped on our bikes.
Sure did.
We took our backpack. We went to the park and played shirt skins all the time. The kids, and I hate saying kids today, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, it should be parents today.
Yeah, it is parents.
They have to go to this facility and everything else, and we don't just say go fucking outside,
right?
Find a wall.
A lot of the problems with youth sports in general is the market's fault. It's what people demand.
Yes.
For instance, we have grass fields that we rent at Creve Coeur. If it rains 2 weeks in a row, we move heaven and earth, shift everyone off of the turf fields, cancel their practice on the second week, just to make it even, because we have splits or whatever else. And it's like, I'm not knocking our parents, I love them all. But the reality is, like, 2 weeks of rain, like, I'm not God, I can't control it. Jim has probably better insight on that. No, closer to the man himself. But no, it's like, what are we supposed to do here? So it's all market driven. And a lot of the things that even like the mega clubs in St. Louis, like a lot of the problems with them, quote unquote, are all market driven. They're just responding to the market. And that's when right back to my original point when I got involved with Jim, is like, you have a problem here. You're charging at the time, like it was like $1,000.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
break even.
How are you going to hire coaches for your third, your fourth, your fifth, your sixth team? You don't even have room to grow as it sits today.
Well, and that's when that was his first thing. He said, "Look, you've got a good thing here. Let's, instead of chasing the cat's tail every year to figure out how many coaches you can hire, let's go ahead and build the thing and grow into it."
Right.
Infrastructure.
I think that's a great point, and we're going to take a break here in just a second. But to follow up on that, just like I firmly believe, pay to play is just an easy thing. It's fun. You can argue about it around campfire, on socials, everything else. Because, look, is it expensive for a lot of families? And are a lot of families isolated out of the ability to participate? Yes. Unfortunately, that's a problem in America. Correct. Like that's a bigger issue.
And just to speak to that really quickly, there isn't a person that's listening to this right now that if you truly can't afford to play soccer, if you can get a hold of me, contact our club, we'll make it happen.
Scott Gallagher does the same thing.
We'll make it
Fuse
happen.
does the same thing.
Right,
We're
I know
a no player left behind club.
So it's like,
there's nobody that wants to play that does not get an opportunity at our club. We'll
make it happen. We do it all the time.
Yes.
I think it's a little bit of a cop-out argument with some factual structure to it. I think what it comes down to is parents pay for value. And when they are honest with themselves as far as what they expect that value to look like. Because the reality is 1% of kids are going to go play at the next level. Right? So if you're thinking at U10, U11, U12 that your team fees are going to get your kid to SLU University or wherever, stop. Stop thinking like that. Either you spend the money because you like the coaches, you like the club, you like the vibe. The tournaments are fun.
More importantly, you like what the game teaches your kid to become an adult.
There you go.
100%. Before you jump real quick, what got me into this was the experience I had playing soccer.
Yes.
Every job I've ever had after college has been through a relationship I had through soccer. And it's none of these kids will go pro. I'm not going to say none. There's a 1/100% will go pro. But they'll all. We're in the business of growing young human beings.
Well, and my thoughts are,
forward.
And sorry to cut you off, but I had great parents, so I was fortunate to live in a mom and dad household, and I understand there's that dynamic. But my youth coach, like, I mean, I owe everything to him.
Sure.
For what, I mean, like, I hated him from 8 to 15 or 14 or whatever it was, and right now I love him because, like, I just know what he did for me.
Yeah, that's the way I am with Coach Baker. You know, we all have those people in our lives. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're out here at Fenton Bar and Grill, get some refills. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the club, some of the other endeavors that you guys are dabbling in, from TST to Midwest Premier to you name it, because you can't go on socials in the soccer world and not see a Stars post somewhere.
That's right.
With kids of all ages. So when we come back, we got Matt and Jim here with us. Jarod, you doing good?
Excellent.
All right, we'll be right back. See ya.
The term staycation was really invented by soccer moms. Located 1 hour and 7 minutes from the Arch, the Music Box Chalet at Innsbruck is a hidden gem. Buried in 3 acres of private woods, the Music Box has a master suite for just you, a loft and second bath for them, and a vinyl collection to meet your every mood. The full-size kitchen will easily accommodate 3 to 12 bottles of rosé, while the huge fire pit seating area will keep the big kids busy. Golf, fishing, kayaking, pickleball, or simply reading a book with Mother Nature, all at your fingertips. Visit either VRBO or Airbnb to find the Music Box Chalet. And now, back to those guys.
All right, we're back. We are talking all things Stars soccer
via Guadalajara.
Yeah, I got to keep playing that license-free music. My brother Dana Anderson, Bottles. Go check it out. Out here at Fenton Bar and Grill, we have yet to order trashed wings. We will, because I haven't ate yet today. Not anything today, Jarod. Can you imagine that? It's 5:04. Zip, just 3 Miller Lights. Pretty baller.
I mean, that's a Granite City thing, dude.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I can see through your skin, and
that's called smelt. All right, we're sitting here with Matt and Jim. Gentlemen, we were talking just a second ago a little bit about philosophy, right, as far as what you're focusing on and keeping kids. You speak to kind of the brand identity and the critical nature of, you know, for example, you know, we've mentioned Gallagher a number of times here. I know the numbers. There's 4,400 kids, boys and girls, that are in that club. The vast majority of the brand identity occurs at the top. It's the academy. It's the kids that are going to City. It's the kids that are going pro, the Matty DiMarias of the world, etc. Right?
It has since been watered down since City got here 5 years ago.
Yeah, if you take them out, you still have 4,200 kids in the club.
Right.
That kind of buoys it. And we were just talking about some of the recent successes that you guys have had within the new leagues, ECNL, etc. Can you take a second and talk about how you balance? Because Matt, you said one of the things you wanted to change and focus on is that every family has the quote Stars experience, whether it's a low tier or top tier. As you grow, as you garner more attention for the successes you guys are having within leagues from SLISA to ECNL and everything in between, you know, do you talk about how you're going, because there is a difference between top teams and clubs. How do you view that? How do you approach that?
So, you're saying the way that the world looks at us in that regard, you mean?
Well, I mean, within your ranks, because at the end of the day, you know
You're right.
that,
So
that your top teams need to be successful.
Totally. So
They need to be successful, right?
absolutely, it's key. Obviously, we want to be successful at every level, but and always be developing. And we've proven that time and time again in short order here in the last few years, where we've taken players that have come from a Division 5 team somewhere else, and within a year or two, they're playing for our top team. It's happened several times, more than I can count in a really quick, short order, just based on what we did. Early when I got involved in this, I told Jim, and I swore to him that day, and it will never change, and that I will never make or take a St. Louis Stars dollar ever. And whenever I told him, we're going to charge more money, we're going to do more for everyone, I will never make a penny, ever, no matter what. I didn't realize whenever I said that it was also going to cost me a fortune. But
So there's the other side of that conversation.
yeah, Jim forgot to
You need to
mention
find
that part.
You need to find a Matt Hulsey.
So when we got off the ground, and this is truly the secret sauce for any small club in the world, and I've met with a few of these smaller clubs, like, how did you guys get to this point? It's like real simple. A ton of money of mine. No, not a ton. Some money of mine. And I don't make a penny. I put a lot of work into it. I never will make a penny. That's the whole goal, is just to grow the club in the right way. And the money we do take and make, we add value to each and every player. And like I said, there's nothing that makes me more proud. Oh no, they got to go to practice over there.
There you go,
distracting
yeah.
me a little bit. So there's nothing that makes me more proud than these guys, the Campbells, Thomas Hutchison, Jeff over here. Just hiring the right people that care, right? A lot of these guys are not perfect. I'm not perfect. No one here is, right? But a lot of the things we deal with when we do hire a guy, the number one thing we will not and cannot deal with is if you care. You can be the smartest soccer guy in the world, but if you don't care in that real way, we genuinely will cut ties with you immediately. And that's made a huge difference. I don't know. I just kind of got sidetracked on that.
No. I mean, that's a little bit of everything. Let me ask you just a follow-up question,
Yeah.
maybe to get it a little bit more focused.
For sure.
For you, not overall, but maybe like on a season-to-season basis, define success for Matt Hulsey.
We don't even go that far. Our goal and what we talk about regularly, and it sounds probably a little corny, is we tell these coaches all the time, all of our staff guys, all of our independent contractors regularly. Your job is to get them to come back to the next practice with a smile on their face.
That's not corny at all.
No.
I don't care
So-
if we're playing soccer or building popsicle sticks.
Right.
It's the same premise.
Right. We want to win. We're playing to win. We're training to win. We're developing. But the ultimate goal here at the Stars is, will you want to play tomorrow? Like, for these coaches,
That's passion.
right. And then a lot of these guys, I'll tell them, like, the biggest compliment you can get from a parent is like, yeah, little Timmy is out playing every day in the backyard. Like, that's you that did that. Like you guys just had said, all three of you during this thing, is I wasn't lucky enough in the other sports I played to have an influential coach that like changed the course of my life. You guys all were. It's like to have that impact on those players. So that's the most long-winded way to say, we don't look at it season to season. We look at it day to day.
Well,
and that's the real way we do
I'm
it, so.
I'm going to challenge you a little
Okay.
bit. Because you're corporate. You're a businessman.
Sure.
I asked you the question, how do you define success?
Right.
You said we. I'm asking Matt Hulsey, the guy that just admitted that he plans on never taking a dime from this whole enterprise, for you personally,
Right.
at the end of a season, what does success look like to you?
And to help is that you get as many kids to the St. Louis Academy that you can, the MLS Academy. Is that to win an ECNL championship? Is that to have 0% turnover? Like, what is success?
Is it to give 5 more coaches a full-time job and make them stable? What does that look like? Because I know you got a huge altruistic bone in your body.
Yeah, sure.
How does that apply to
success?
the stars?
The way I met, and then my mantra in life is always, and Jim's heard me say this 1,000 times, and that's we're just getting started. So success to me is always defined in momentary wins, right? So for me, end of the season, everything wraps up. Success is defined it's not the wins, the losses. The going to nationals for ECNL is great and all, but for success for me is whenever I have any parent ever, no matter the level, tell me how great an experience they're having or had at the Stars, and that's where I get my wins.
I'm gonna be honest. We're wired a little differently, and that's probably why we work so well together.
That's called yin yang.
I'm a competition, guys. We look. I want to win, and I think one thing that has changed, has put our club kind of on the map, if you will, is again, we're not ever going to get the 12 best guys ever. They're always going to go to one or two other clubs first.
A, B, or C.
What we can do, and you guys have played the game. How many times you've seen the team with the best talent lose to the team that works harder?
Often.
So
those are the games you remember.
The thing you absolutely.
This guy's gonna say something stupid.
And nothing stings more when you're on that team that should have won that game. What we do is we teach intensity and how to compete. That should be just as important as teaching ball skills, tactics, finishing. How to compete, how to
I would
leave
say
it all
we're
on the
lacking
field.
that at a national team level.
You're 100% right. If we were coaching that and teaching that as one of the main disciplines, I think we'd be a little bit farther along. If you watch that Belgium game, that defines what happened there. We stopped playing.
Yeah, I wasn't fortunate enough to go to a World Cup game. And had many.
I don't like people.
Yeah, I had many friends.
Didn't we talk about that?
and family members and other acquaintances go. And the one thing that they said is, all the games are great, but like going in the stadium and being involved in whatever country was playing, the two countries that were, like if you were in Kansas City and you were watching Algeria versus Austria, or if you got to go see a Colombia or a Brazil game, and just being immersed in those fan bases and the passion that the team emanates from all the way up or down or however you want to say it, it's what you're talking about. It's not about it's life or death. And you can kind of flip the coin over and be like, of course under-9 soccer is not life or death, but what under-9 soccer is often the best team doesn't win. But the under-9 team that works the hardest, that has the most passion, that has the most give a fuck, they win.
Right. Well, it's a mindset, right? It's instilling a mindset of no matter what happens, win or lose, you can feel good about what you left on the field that day. And I think that's what's helped us bridge the gap between the bigger clubs and that, and taking some of the other kids that aren't quite ready in the eyes of the other clubs and giving them an opportunity to show what they have.
So I'll say this because Jarod missed it because his son, older than the teams that you guys would have been developing. I have a 2013. I've seen the Stars against my son's team. There's something about, just anecdotally, it's a singular team that I've seen. I haven't seen any of your other age groups. They play well. Sure. They play with a style. It's clear. Is that do you know where that's coming from? Is that a Will SK thing? Is that kind of like an overall? Do you talk about like what kind of teams you want to develop?
Identity.
What is the identity of the club? How would you describe that?
Well, that particular team I think you're talking about is the Todd Hunter, Ryan Workmeister team.
It's the one below that, right?
Okay.
Yeah. It's
2013?
the one that SK coached.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, how many ponytail, long hair guys?
Right, yeah. We don't have a lot.
Well.
No, I know.
Shout out to Will, by the way. He's an absolute man. We love that guy.
Chili Willie. Go ahead, Matt. You can answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's something and as we've grown, it's been more and more difficult at all levels to convey to all of these coaches, and the difficulty that all these clubs have, I'm sure. But intensity is, all the soft-sided things about what I said earlier. It's like, yeah, we are here to win. Like we don't want to lose ever. So as far as teaching, the difficulty we've really had, that initial core group of 20 teams, 25 teams, 40 teams, we did a really good job at doing that. So this year upcoming, we have a whole new game plan that we're implementing to re-engage what our true identity is, which has from the early stages just been based around intensity.
But that team does play with an identity. They keep the ball. They do.
100%.
They play the game the right way, right?
So is that a unique to them, or is it something strategically in the coaches meeting, in the staff meeting?
It's something
do you
we're
guys
working
talk about
towards.
a style?
Absolutely, all the time. And then
But it also goes back to the coach and how each coach, a little bit of their personal identity comes through the team.
Stamp on the team.
Yeah. Right, and so that's what you see. But part of when we started this was I grew up playing for Bush, and if you remember the old Bush days, it was just a lot of like-minded soccer guys that were all behind just the concept of playing good,
you
sweet
had
soccer.
Militant coaches
That's it.
that taught every kid to do the same thing.
And
stylistically, that's what you were.
Correct. And so there might be a little difference between coaches and teams, but the same marching orders applied. Everybody went out and they picked good players and he played hard.
And I know we're getting long in the tooth in the episode. My final question would be, what's next for the Stars? I guess I'll bring it to the public, but I know just from doing a podcast and being around in the club game and having a kid in the club game, I know you guys are in the market to try to expand and maybe get a home base. If you can, I don't know. What are we doing moving forward with the St. Louis Stars? Are we trying to build a soccer park type facility, a Creve Coeur type facility? Are we trying to just grow the club? Are we trying to get better? What's next? What's in the future?
Well, I think in the immediate future, the facility has always been front and center, and the world we live in has made it more and more difficult to find something that pencils, right? There's a reason why all these parks are built in floodplains, and we're running out of floodplains to stick them in that makes sense geographically. For us, it is what we're deferring to until we find that is, let's get deeper. We don't have to get bigger, let's get deeper. Let's continue to add on solid coaching and just become a more solid organization until that day comes where we can re-engage and grow. We've had to turn some players away.
Perez.
That's all news to me. No, I'm just kidding. Look, we get this question a lot because we're now at 1,000 kids. Had we had a crystal ball 5 years ago and known that we'd be here, we would already have a facility.
Sure.
We're going to have a facility. It's not going to be long. When the right opportunity arises, we're going to hammer it. That's it. From that aspect, till then,
it's got to be right business, sure, clientele.
At the same time, it's like
location,
right?
So let me ask the kind of the more tangent question, because the one thing I know about you, the club, the things you guys are doing, you do far more than the 1,000 kids. You're involved. I referenced the TST earlier. You've got a Midwest Premier League team.
We just won. We just champs.
Yeah. So that's something that typically clubs wait a long time to kind of expand beyond just kids, families, etc.
Yeah.
What's the thought process? What's the mindset? Maybe what's the strategy? Is it a brand thing? Is it a market thing? Is it a coach thing?
Well, I think it's let me real quick, and I'll be brief. As a player, before there was the MLS here for guys like you and me, after you're done playing college, there was nothing else to really go do, even though you still had the itch to play. And for us, it's creating a little bit more of a pathway for our players that we've developed to come back and still represent the club in a competitive way. And we think, as the game continues to grow here in the States, there's going to be more levels. So how do we get our toe in the water on those levels and continue to allow our players who's come up proud playing for the club to continue to represent the club? And that's why we're doing it. And it's fun. That's the honest take.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as I'm sure you could tell if you follow us on Instagram at all, we have top-notch social media, thanks to Mohamed Arukovic and team. It plays into our whole marketing plan in general. Like, for instance, Mohamed, he doesn't get paid at all by the Stars. He works directly for Serve Pro. And that's something that my partner Kevin Thole and I have committed to the Stars, as well as other things.
Content.
The content is
But
top
Matt,
notch.
if you don't have it, you don't exist.
If you don't have it, you don't exist. And we have the best. We have the best guy for the job that's doing it, that's running the team.
Yeah.
And not to dog the other clubs or anything, but
No.
But-
Look, I've been in the meetings and sitting down and
Right.
working on things with him, and it's a different level, and I think it's one of those things that it kills 12 birds with one stone.
Sure.
In so much that at the end of the day, I've always believed that team social media should never be about our tryout. This is our, this is where we finish the league. It's none of that.
Yeah.
Put the kids, put the little guys, the players, put them on Insta, put them in a reel, put them on video.
Yeah.
Because the
a lot of those
pride,
ideas I got from you.
because the pride, the loyalty. Yes. At the end of the day, we would all love to believe it's the crest. It's not.
Right, no.
The loyalty is to our kid.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
you
And
guys
it should
do a
be.
brilliant job of celebrating the kids through your socials. I love the fact that soccer camps. You guys sponsor pro sponsors, SLU soccer camps, etc.
Yep.
For a guy that didn't grow up playing the game, you kind of love the game.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, he's become Mark Cuban. That's what he's become. I mean, he's
Except for the minus the billions,
Cost plus soccer first.
Right.
But
yeah, there you go.
he's become a soccer guy. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. I love the game. I love being around it. And generally, all the people are pretty great. No.
And Slu's been a great reciprocal partner for ours. Kevin Kalish came and spoke at our banquet,
absolutely.
man, and let me tell you, all eyes were on that.
I
It was
saw that.
Really
Hey,
cool.
Jared,
that was
did you
cool.
get the invite?
I
you know
didn't.
what?
I thought we should have been the MCs of that.
You know
But
what?
I've heard Kevin speak, and it's just okay.
Next year, it's
But,
on, buddy.
But what I will say is, what I think is interesting, if you just do a quick Google search on your website, like Kevin Stoll, who's involved with the program, as we know, as an assistant coach, is also a consultant with your club. That's a
Right.
great thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's huge.
because the guy knows the game. He has many relationships. It's just a good thing to have him involved.
I do find it full circle as we roll out here. It's the original Stars. It's the NASL St. Louis Stars reinvented.
And all those guys were from St. Louis, man. That's
I
what's
know.
really cool.
I know, that's
they
pretty
were all
cool.
St. Louis players. They
Well, we
played against
appreciate-
Pele.
We
Well,
appreciate you guys for having us on.
Yeah.
for
Yeah, man.
taking
Hope
the
you
time.
guys.
Good luck to you.
That wasn't too painful, was it?
Oh,
Beautiful.
God, it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
We'll be
Easy
back
breezy.
next week.
Hey, we'll be here.
He bought, so I'm coming.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Like, review, follow, share. I have a link to the Stars Club in the show notes. Till next time, Soccer Dad Pod. We're out of here. See ya.
We're alive. We're alive.